Hello, beautiful people. It's Adrian, and we're back. I hope you're having a great day so far. I'm doing pretty good. I'm chill, doing amazing. I'm grateful for that, and you're welcome. Welcome back to the channel where I talk about my unfiltered thoughts and opinions that nobody asked for. If that sounds like something that you're into, like and subscribe and join the family. And without further ado, let's get right into today's episode. Now, I'm not gonna make this episode really long. I'm not gonna make this long like I normally do. I just wanted to get this quick message out and just like talk to you guys like I always do. So let's do that. And my message is really simple. You will be humbled. Again, let me repeat that. You will be humbled. If you haven't been humbled by life yet, well, you will be one day at one time, one time it will happen. And when it happens, you will not know that it's coming. It will just hit you like a train. It will just hit you like a bus that you didn't know was even coming, was even there to begin with. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to say this to like scare you or anything, because I know that there's a lot of people who walk out here thinking that they know themselves, they know what life is about, they know everything. They know what they're doing, they know who they are, they walk with their chin up, you know what I mean, and all that kind of stuff. And there is nothing necessarily wrong with that. And you guys know that I always encourage you to know who you are and get to know yourself more, and just be confident in who you are and your values and what you believe in and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes you walk around and just see somebody in the way that they show up as, and the way that they act, as well as the way that they treat other people, and you just like ask yourself, and it's like, you've never really been through anything, have you? You really haven't. And I'm not trying to play therapist or anything, or try to act like this person that has been through the most and has been through like hell, like I've been to hell and back. Like, that's not what I'm here to do. I'm just like, sometimes you see someone and the way that, again, they act and how they treat other people and the way that they approach life, and it's like, you really haven't been through anything. You've seen nothing, you know what I mean? And that doesn't always mean that they've seen nothing, because someone can go through something and be humbled by life and still have a positive outlook on life. Because I'm right here, just because someone has been through stuff doesn't mean that they have to be this bitter and hateful person and just be this like, cutthroat kind of person or strict kind of person. That's not always the case, and that's not what I'm talking about. Sometimes you see how someone moves through life and how they treat other people, and it's like, you've never really been through anything, have you? And it's just, again, always that reminder that life will humble you. You think you know everything, you think you know what you're doing, where you're going. You don't know nothing, you don't know anything, you don't know anything. Me and you and everyone who's on this earth, we really do not matter. Like, we do matter, but also we do not matter at all. We know what we're doing, but also we do not know what we're doing. We do not know. We are nothing. Again, I'm not trying to say this to make you feel like you're nothing and make you feel worthless, but if anything, that should be some kind of relief. It should make you feel relieved, because we're nothing. We do not know what we're doing. We do not know what is going on. As much as we always like to think that we know what's going on and we know what we're doing and where we're going, we do not know. We do not know anything, and life is really unpredictable. Anything can happen at any time. So when you're moving through life, and when you're trying to, like, when you meet other people and you coexist with them, always try to treat everyone with respect and just like be kind. You don't have to do backflips and do the most. No, just be kind, be compassionate, be empathetic, try the best that you can to just be nice and be kind to people. Because again, if not, life will humble you. It really will. It will beat you up to the point where you will feel like absolute crap. You will feel like nothing and no one. You will feel like you're a nobody. I'm not saying this to make you feel like you're nothing. I'm telling you this to remind you that we really are nothing and nobodies. Always try to have some humility with you at all times. Again, you do not know everything. You don't. I do not know everything. We all don't. We don't know everything there is to know about this world or this human experience and this whole life thing. And when we move through life, we have to always make sure that we have some humility, and we are kind and empathetic and compassionate towards other people, and try to be as understanding as we possibly can be, moving through life being this bitter and negative person, because at the end of the day, we're all just trying to do the best that we can possibly do to just have a good time on this, I don't know, this earth, whatever you want to call this human experience, so when you meet other people, just try to be kind, try to be nice, try to be more empathetic and understanding. Again, we're all trying to do our best to do the best that we possibly can with this little time that we have on this earth. So just try to be kind. Instead of making everybody else's life way harder than what they already are, try to make it easier. Try to see what you can do to make it easier. And again, have some humility. You do not know everything. I do not know everything. I talk about things on here, but again, at the end of the day, I don't know everything. And same thing with you. You do not know everything. So always try to be kind. And if not, life will humble you. Oh, it will. It will beat you up like you're nothing. Throw you against the wall, beat you up like you're nothing because you are nothing. And if you haven't gone to that place where you're like, well, God, I really feel like I'm nothing. Like, wow, I'm nothing. If you haven't gone there yet, you will get there. I'm not praying that you do, but I think it's an important and interesting place to be, because you will get to learn so much about yourself and just the world in general. It will teach you to be more empathetic and just kinder, and to know that anything can happen to anyone. You sitting there and thinking that this can never happen to me, I can never do that, blah blah blah. This person is down because they reacted this way when they were faced with this problems and these issues. You don't know that. You don't know that. You're saying that because you're speaking from the outside. You were not dealt with those cards. So again, try to be as understanding and as compassionate as you possibly can be, because when you're actually dealt with those same cards and those same situations and problems, chances are you would have done the same thing. So things are always different. You never know what life can really bring to the table. You never really know. So try to be nice, try to be kind, try to be understanding. You don't know everything. Try to be humble, try to have some humility. You don't know everything. You don't know everyone. You don't know everyone's stories. You don't know what people have been through. You don't know what people have overcome. So pick your battles wisely. You don't always know what people have been through. Learn to be kind, learn to be empathetic, learn to be understanding, learn to mind your own business. Don't try to mess up with everyone. Everybody's trying their best to do this life thing. So go out there and do the same. Mind your own business. Try to be kinder. If you can't, and if you have nothing to say, if you have nothing nice to say, then keep those opinions to yourself. You don't have to come out here and try to make life harder for yourself. And again, I'm not trying to say this because I'm some kind of like Buddhist and I'm like the nicest person ever. No, or like the kindest person. Sometimes I'm not nice. I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes I'm going through it, and sometimes I'm not nice to people. But I always have to remind myself, like, dude, you know what you've been through. You know where you've been. So try to be humble. Try to get it together and be kinder to people. And I know that sometimes we get confident and maybe a little too confident, and we start walking around thinking like, I know who I am, I know what I'm doing, I know where I'm going, I've figured it out. No, you haven't. You have not. Sometimes you wake up, you think that you figure things out, then you go to bed and you wake up again and you're like, what in the world is going on? What am I doing? I'm lost again. What's happening? So you can never truly figure the whole life thing out. Never. It does not matter how old you are. Again, I've talked to so many people who are like way older than me, like people who are in their 90s. I even talked to a guy who's like 100 plus years old. You never truly figure things out. We're all still learning. So again, try to be humble, try to be nice and kind, and have some humility. You never truly know, because sometimes, even with myself, I'm gonna be honest, sometimes I wake up and I feel like a little too confident. I'm gonna be honest, and I walk around with my chin high, and I'm like, I know what I'm doing. I know who I am. You can tell me what to do. You can tell me this. And again, we're human. Sometimes you feel that. Sometimes you feel confident, maybe a little too confident, and that's never good. We always have to remind ourselves to be humble and have some humility and know that we can always learn something from everyone. It doesn't matter who they are or their background or whether we think that we can learn something from them or not. There's always something that you can learn from somebody all the time. It doesn't matter who they are or where they're from or whether you think you can really learn anything from them. There's always something that you can learn from somebody all the time. So try to be humble, try to have some humility. I know everything. No, you don't. Sometimes I have to look at myself in the mirror and be like, dude, that wasn't right. The way you treated that person, it wasn't right. The way you talked to them, it wasn't the nicest. Get it together. Go apologize. If you cannot, maybe you can apologize to them and it was like you met them once and all that kind of stuff. Try to be better. Try to be better. Try to be good. Try to do better. Try to be a better person. Because again, you never truly know what life can bring you, and you just always have to like try the best that you possibly can to hold yourself accountable and know that you don't know anything. You really do not. You don't know anything. I don't know anything. I don't care how old you are or how much you've experienced. You know nothing. Same thing as me. I know nothing. Yes, we all have some wisdom here and there from our own personal experience, but still we do not know as much as we might think that we do. And it's just something that I wanted to talk about and a reminder, again, you don't know everything, I don't know everything. Be humble, be kind, be empathetic, be more compassionate towards people. It's always important to have some humility at all times. A little kindness and humility will take you a really, really long way. So, yeah, that's all I have to say for today's episode. Again, nothing really happened that made me want to talk about this. I just woke up and I was like, I really want to talk about this, and I feel like it's something that I want to talk about to you guys about. And again, it's not something new, it's just like a reminder. Just a reminder. Again, that's all I wanted to talk about. I love you. Take care of yourself. Sending you virtual hugs and kisses. And I know you guys are not like that. I know you're kind and I know you're better than that. But it's just like a reminder to just be better people every single day. Everyone is trying their best. So try not to make someone's life harder than what it already is. And yeah, that's all I have to say. I love you. Sending you virtual kisses and hugs. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for hanging out. If you're new, like and subscribe. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Bye bye.